This episode of the Digital Desperados podcast is brought to you by SaferNet VPN, found online at safernet.com.
Welcome to the Digital Desperados podcast featuring dark tales from the web. Patrick McMurphy back here today from his secret lair to tell us the dark tales. He's joined by Brad Hawkins, founder and CEO of SaferNet. I'm Jim Brangenberg, and I'll serve as your story guide. Of course, this podcast brought to you by SaferNet. Why? So you'll check it out. SaferNet.com. If you're a business owner, listen up. Criminals and search engines do not need to know everything you do on the internet, but they do. SaferNet VPN ensures your company's safety with its powerful cybersecurity defenses. Explore the Control Center dashboard for seamless management and shield your workforce from inappropriate web content using 84 internet filters. Trust SaferNet, your path to worry-free online operations. Get secured now at safernet.com. All right, Patrick, which dark tale are you telling us today?
Well, Jim, today I want to talk about the Mirai botnet and its creators. Mirai is often called the Manhattan Project of botnets. It's a personal one for me.
Hang on. Historical reference. Everybody young like you doesn't necessarily know what the Manhattan Project's all about.
I mean, they just had a movie out. Oppenheimer. So it was about the splitting the atom and the creation of the atomic bomb. Basically, is what it all led into. But a big one, a huge one. This story has a lot of personal notes for me because I was in work at the time when I experienced Mirai, and actually got me started working in cybersecurity. So I've always liked this story. I love telling the story. So there's kind of three people we're going to talk about today. They're Paris Jia, Josiah White, and Dalton Norman. But really, we're just going to focus on Paris because I could end up talking about this for the next 6 to 7 hours otherwise.
Today's episode could be a long one, so sit down and relax.
I'll try to summarize it. Now, there is a fourth unknown individual. We'll get to him later. So Paris, he's born in 1996 in New Jersey. So he's a young guy.
So that explains it. I'm from New Jersey. This guy's from New Jersey. Explains everything. It's the last week's episode with the guy from Austin, Texas that threw me for a loop. New Jersey, that makes sense. Okay.
Now, his family, the regular, well-to-do people. In third grade, Paris's teacher feels that he may have ADHD. He recommends that Paris be evaluated. However, his parents decided that they didn't want to go ahead with that. Now, throughout school, Paris is extremely intelligent. A lot of teachers are saying he's lazy, he's apathetic, he doesn't do homework, but he's acing every single test they throw at him. Because of, I suppose, his intelligence, he's pushed himself. He's pushing his academic skills outside of schooling. So in particular, Paris becomes obsessed with coding. At age 12, he's learning assembly language, C, Java, C#, plenty more. I can tell you, I can count on one many hands how many programmers I know who are adults that know anything about assembly language. And the guy is mastering it at age 12. It's ridiculous.
I hated assembly language. I hated it.
I did it for a month, and it was one of the worst months of my life. So yeah.
Wow.
Now, his parents are overjoyed because the kid is eating up programming. This is the mid 2000s. It's very clear at this point there's going to be a good career out of this. So they buy him a computer and they give him unrestrained internet access. That is a terrible idea. I'd have to say.
Bad idea then. Bad idea then. Really bad idea today.
Way worse now.
By the way, SaferNet does provide tools for the parents to be able to monitor and manage internet usage. So just FYI.
Time, manages where they can go. It's got great tools. All right. Sorry, Patrick.
You're all good. So Paris, he's taken refuge in computers. He's kind of lacking socially. He doesn't have a lot of real life friends. So he's either studying online, he's coding, and he plays a lot of video games. He meets two guys online, Josiah White and Dalton Norman. These three kids, they're all the same age. They have a lot in common. They're all interested in computing. And so they start playing this game that I'm sure plenty have heard of called Minecraft. It's probably been one of the most popular video games in the last 15 years. And so they use their knowledge of computing to start hosting servers. They want to host their own Minecraft servers. And this is where they encounter their first DDoS attack. So just let me explain what a DDoS attack is. So you can imagine a website or a web server, it's like a brick and mortar store. And so every day you get normal traffic in, you get regular customers coming in, they look around, they might buy, things like that. Now imagine you had a store that could only take 50 people, and then suddenly out of the blue, 1 million people walk in at once. So the real customers can no longer get in, they can't buy things, the staff are overwhelmed. And that's what's happened with a DDoS. It gets spammed with so much traffic in one second that the website or web server can no longer function. And that's what happens to their Minecraft server. It effectively gets kind of blown up, right? Temporarily, at least.
And we can see that happening sometimes where, I remember, several, multiple years ago where, the entire internet was shut down in back east because of just mass amounts of attacks coming to servers all over back east. And that was kind of historic.
Exactly. And it's a good thing you touched on it, because it's exactly what we're just about to cross into. So we won't dwell on this part for very long, but really the trio, they began building their own defense system against DDoS attacks on their servers. But they also learned how to start their own DDoS attacks on rival kids' servers. So these are just teenagers trying to take down each other's Minecraft servers. And they're really inspired by this concept of DDoS as a service. And this is kind of becoming popular at the time. Basically, if you wanted a competitor's business to be taken offline, you call these guys, pay them, and they strike it. It's illegal, of course, but that's what was going on at the time.
So, wow. I mean, Minecraft is a game. And it's a game where kids are building. I mean, they build cities, they build houses, they build realities online.
Yeah.
It's a game. I mean, I know the kids get obsessed with it, but it's a game. It's been around a long time. And today, it's a huge game worldwide. All these guys are trying to do is have a good time.
Exactly.
So, Brad, you said that SaferNet could help protect our kids when they're online, so they can't go places that they should go. Like this kid was allowed to go anywhere he wanted to go. Tell us how that works.
Yeah. A parent would just have a dashboard to be able to choose. You got about 200 internet controls that you can go through and choose how do you want to design your network. And it's very simple, easy questions. There's 84 filters you can filter. So if you want to block, you can even block gaming or pornography or, whatever the case is. But the thing that really makes some sense is if you got somebody that is out of control and, all they do is play games, you can say, well, I'm going to give you 3 hours of internet usage a day and use it wisely or however you want to. So there's multiple controls based on what a parent would know is the wisest way of handling or training their kid how to use the internet. So, yeah.
Wow. And he goes to Rutgers? This guy's an American kid. He goes to Rutgers.
So, 2014, Paris enrolls in Rutgers. He's studying computer science. As a side business, he starts a side business called ProTraft Solutions. And so this is DDoS mitigation and protection. Now, he immediately begins using DDoS attacks on the university in a number of ways. So, for example, if he wants to enroll in a certain class, he enrolls and then DDoS's the university to cut off other students trying to get in as well. So he's just trying to use all the space for himself. If there's midterms, if there's exams, he uses another attack so he gets more time to study. So he's kind of relentless. And to make it worse, so anytime he used an attack, he would then get on social media and say, well, Rutgers, the IT team here are terrible. They should really hire my company to protect themselves. So it's like a Looney Tunes type move, But between 2014 and 2016, Paris ends up causing $8.5 million worth of damage to Rutgers because it's constant attacks. They always have to call in new IT teams, getting people called in for overtime just repeatedly. The guy is a menace.
Now has he figured out how to make any money at this?
No, he's really just using, he has the DDoS protection business. He's making a little money off it, but not a ton. And he sorry.
So really, all he's trying to do is get a name for himself, or maybe he's mad at somebody and trying to destroy their businesses. But he's not really motivated to make a lot of money at this point, right?
Yeah, he's trying to advertise. Basically, is what he's trying to do. But he's going around it a pretty bad way. Now, at this point, I mean, he's been talking to Josiah and Dalton about all this, and they want to create something unique, something that can make money. So they create their own botnet, and it's completely unique. It's called Miryoi. It means future in Japanese. Now, it's important to understand, Paris did the majority of work on Miryoi. Josiah helped him with a lot of additional code writing. Dalton's task was incredibly important because he created Miryoi's scanning system, and this made it all different for Miryoi. So we have to look at something called IoT devices. And what is an IoT device? So IoT is Internet of Things. So in your house, you may have smart bulbs, smart fridge, smart camera at the door, all these basically any smart device that isn't like a phone, but is connected to the internet. That's an IoT device. And so Miryoi starts where it scans all of the web and it blocks any IP address that looks like it's either Postal Service or DoD. And it scans all these other IP addresses, and it's looking for vulnerable IoT devices.
Wait a minute now.
And what?
So you're saying he got smart. He's like, I'm not going to mess with the DoD guys. I'm not going to mess with the Postal Service because I don't want to get mail fraud.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a smart opening move. And so when I say a vulnerable IoT device, so I mean, how is your Philips light bulb vulnerable? What does that mean? So they have they have this
go
table
on in the middle of the night and wake me up. They can mess with my thermostat and make it get hot in the summer and cold in the winter.
Now, I have to say, that would be a little fun to do to your friends.
It would.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking the garage door opener, though. Make it go up and down and up and down and up and down. That gives me an idea. Yeah.
But so they have a table of 60 common factory default usernames and passwords. So that should be a warning that if you have any of these devices and you're using the password on it that came with, just stop, use another password. And so when Miryoi finds one of these, it logs in and infects them. And so these devices continue just as normal, but they may seem a little slow, and there's an increase in bandwidth. But the point here is to use them for these DDoS attacks, to use them to launch to one target at a time. Interestingly, and this is kind of funny of how smart these guys were, Miryoi acted as a very aggressive antivirus because it would scan every device it was about to infect and remove all malware from it if it was there and just install itself. So it was a very aggressive virus, such an aggressive virus that removed any other virus. So it could have been used as a really charitable antivirus solution, but it wasn't, obviously.
That's and that goes back to the same thing, is that these guys are intelligent. They could contribute so much to society. But they just turn at some point and start making some really bad choices.
Exactly. And so the first time Miryoi is used, it's against an ISP. And so Paris's own business had gone to this ISP company and saying, oh, you might get a DDoS attack someday. You should hire me. And the company just said no. Again, just a very obvious move. And then a week later, Paris emails them from a fake email and said, we need $5,000 in Bitcoin or we're going to DDoS you. It's I mean, come on, put two and two together. Who's going to be emailing you this? They did. I wonder. And so they didn't
And he had
pay.
left a card when he was there. And so they just dialed the card. And did you just do this to us? Yeah.
No. But so they didn't pay. And they were immediately hit by 300 gigabytes worth of internet traffic from bots, right? And just to tell you how big this is, most DDoS attacks at the time were 20 gigabytes, right? And Miryoi's first attack was 300 gigabytes. What was happening? Because this scanning process, the bot army for Miryoi was doubling every 76 minutes. There was never a bot army like this ever. Immediately afterwards, the trio knew of a hosting company called OVH, and now these guys do Minecraft servers, and they offer DDoS protection. Paris wants them gone, so they commence a DDoS attack on OVH, and at the time, it was the biggest attack in history. It's 1.1 terabytes per second.
Wow.
1.1 terabytes per second is insanity.
How did they get a pipe big enough to even do that attack? Pipes aren't even. Wow.
It's insane.
Well, it's safe to say that World War III started on your computer when Al Gore unleashed the internet in 1994. You want to fortify your business against cyber attacks? You need SaferNet and the SaferNet VPN. Easy to use cybersecurity app, SaferNet protects all your enterprise on all fronts. Embrace simple yet robust cybersecurity with SaferNet and do it now. SaferNet.com. That's SaferNet.com. So, Brad, if I got somebody coming at me with a DDoS attack and I got SaferNet on all of my devices, am I going to be okay? Even if it's a 1.1 terabyte DDoS attack?
It's a little bit different because DDoS attack is attacking a website, and they're trying to shut down a website where SaferNet protects endpoint devices. So it protects your phone and your computer and your, those type of things. And so if you've got an endpoint device, we're protecting that. But a DDoS attack is shutting down a website that is trying to make sales.
So it sounds like an opportunity for SaferNet to expand their business. All right. But I mean, this is crazy numbers, Patrick.
Yeah.
I mean, pipes, you can't get internet pipes that are terabyte. How does this
exactly.
Unbelievable.
And so an attack like this, it caught everyone's attention. The first to seriously report on it was this white hat researcher, very famous guy called Brian Krebs. And so after reporting on it, Krebs immediately gets hit with a 620 gigabyte attack on his website for reporting it. And so now the FBI are on board. And why they're on board, because this is 2016, there's presidential elections coming up. They suspect that there's a foreign entity that has this unprecedented digital power in their hands. In court, it's said to be likened to a digital Manhattan project. So the name, I wasn't just pulling out of the air, someone said it in court from the FBI. This thing is, people are terrified. Now, more terrified are Paris, Josiah, and Dalton, because they know the FBI are looking into this. And they had no idea of the power they held. They really had no idea. So they wiped their computers, but before this, they make a huge mistake. The three kids, their belief is that if others use Mirai, they can't be tracked down. So if it's shared amongst many, it can't be squared. They can't be patient zero. So they make an announcement on hacking forums that they're done, and they release the source code of Mirai to the public. So in this, the trio just handed out digital atomic bombs to absolutely anybody who was interested and just wanted to click the link. So very soon after this, I think within a day, an unknown hacker, and now this is the fourth person you mentioned, probably a kid as well, creates the biggest DDoS disruption possible using Mirai. And this is what Brad mentioned with the East Coast. So this kid wants to attack Sony's PlayStation Network, which is for gaming, and send it offline. However, PSN is controlled by a company called Dyn. And so Dyn are a very big company. They're the backbone of the web in a lot of ways. And so if you basically, by taking off PSN, he hit Dyn as well. And so there's 72 major entities brought down by this. I can't go through all of them, but there's names like Visa, Amazon, Airbnb, Comcast, CNN, Fox, HBO, iHeartRadio, Netflix, PayPal, Reddit, Shopify, Starbucks, Zillow, a whole lot of others. I was in work when it was going on. We couldn't access anything, or it was a Friday. Our boss told us we were going home for the weekend. And that was my first big interest into cybersecurity. I was like, okay, who are these guys? Everyone thought it was Russians. Everyone thought it was China. It was insane. It was insanity.
But it was a guy from New Jersey.
How old were they?
They would have been 16, I think, at the time. Or not 16, sorry. They would have been...
They're in college.
So if the it would have been 2021.
2021. Good grief. They're just shutting down the entire East Coast over... It's just incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, just for software, anything that was connected to Amazon through AWS, and that's, I mean, we were in IoT at the time, and all that was taken offline. Like, everything stopped working. It was a disaster. Now, the dollar amount here of damage, it's actually not known, but it's likely, that must have been hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more. It was a lot of money.
Now, we're talking about damage, though. It's not talking about getting money into their pocket, but it's lost revenue from businesses that were able to go down. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the hackers aren't making money by using Mirai at this point. This is just destructive. Yeah. So Mirai attacks keep happening in a few days.
Let's chat about that just a touch, because I think it's so important to be able to understand why these people are doing what they do, because we need to think a little bit, or at least understand why they're doing it. And so in your mind, what are they doing? Are they just trying to get a name for themselves? No, are they angry at society? No. What is the game?
No. So this starts by the three guys trying to make money from a protection racket for DDoS. They panic so much that they release this weapon to absolutely everyone. The first one who uses it is some kid who's probably PlayStation Now account ran out of money, so he wants to take him offline, as being like, well, I can do this because I have this weapon. But little does he know, he also shoots the rest of the internet in the ankle doing so. So these attacks so far that I've mentioned, there's more to come, but so far these have just been kids who are incredibly misguided. And so following this, the attacks keep happening. So just the day after, there's 1 million routers in Germany taken offline. The entire country of Liberia loses access to the internet. So someone used Mirai on Liberia, used Mirai on a country. Just consider that for a second. So it's now a weapon of warfare. This was for Minecraft servers, by the way. It's now been used as for international relations. It's insane. Now the trio, you think they would just be, at home, not touching Mirai again at this point. They actually haven't stopped using it, but they're using it for ad click fraud. So they're using it to passively make income. They're actually making a couple of $1,000s a month from this. In the last quarter of that year, which is really probably only 2 to 3 months afterwards, they get arrested. The three of them get apprehended by the FBI. They don't leave a very good trail or they leave a very bright trail behind them, I should say. They don't cover their tracks. They think that everyone else using Mirai will help them. It doesn't. So they each get sentenced to prison each for 10 years. However, right, and this is the big however, and this is why it became such a big story about hacking that year and hacking communities and hacking society. The FBI couldn't let these guys just rot in prison. So they made a very public deal. And so the trio over the next few years would work very closely with the FBI. First of all, they needed to try disable offshoots of Mirai developed from the source code. And because of this, they actually went on to take down 6 cybercrime gangs just by working with the FBI. And it wasn't just DDoS related crimes. Paris and the two guys, they created a program that helped basically, if they had found criminals trading in cryptocurrency, that they could help find their identity and just find their private keys effectively. And so they were on probation, but due to their extensive work and the redemption and what they've done, they were set free. At the moment, Paris, he lives in Silicon Valley. He's working for an unknown company. Jose and Dalton, we're not really sure. They're probably in Silicon Valley doing the same. The question here is, are they still working for the FBI?
Or the Russians? Yeah, because the Russians would like to have guys like this.
Oh, yeah, no. But, I mean, we know these guys are in the U.S. We know the FBI keep track of them. They're definitely working for the FBI. They have to be. And they've taken out so many cybercrime gangs already that they're not going to be like, oh, go work on Facebook. They got to be. They got to be. And so how was Mirai taken out? So besides all the work they did, there was other things. One of the big things was there was all the manufacturers of IoT devices started patching their devices. And this was mostly led by a very, I don't want to use the word gang here, a very strange collection of people called Malware Must Die. These guys are completely anonymous Christian group of white hat hackers whose sole purpose, and they're completely anonymous. They keep quoting Psalms 1156 at people if you try to get their names. Their whole thing is that they disassemble malware, figure out how to amend it, and basically just help people. But they're a very strange movement. If you look up Malware Must Die, their logo is a crusader with a cross on his chest. They have a whole thing going, but they were a big step in helping the movement.
We need to dig into those guys sometime. That would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So Mirio's source code, it's still used. It still gets used quite a bit. Even today, anytime you hear of if there's a successful botnet out there, once you get hackers or white hat hackers publishing the research, you'll always see Mirio's DNA in there. And so that's the story of Mirio and our three guys. They started with Minecraft and created the atomic bomb. Bit of an accident, but
so we still don't know who number 4 guy is, right?
No, we don't. Now, I'm assuming he was probably apprehended by someone, but it was, I mean, because of the way Mirio was released, it was really just ran as a script. So it would have been probably a script kiddie, which is a very young hacker who has no knowledge about hacking, but just wants to press run on a button and see what happens, but accidentally blew up half the internet doing so.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What destruction.
Mothers out there, this should be a lesson. Don't let your kids start on Minecraft. It could lead to a very slippery slope.
I mean, the pipeline between Minecraft and atomic bomb, that needs to be studied because it's insane.
That is unbelievable. Wow. Patrick, quite perhaps the best story so far. It starts in New Jersey, goes to Minecraft, and the largest DDoS attack in the world. Unbelievable. Well, you heard it here. The internet and everything digital can have a dark side, even in Minecraft, and super many dark players, even Minecraft players. That's why you need SaferNet by your side. Check out SaferNet online. It's safernet.com. That's safernet.com. Get secure today so you don't have to worry about kids playing Minecraft. Till the next time, click only on the attachments you trust from those you trust and delete the rest. And don't forget to change your passwords. You may become the next victim of a digital desperado.
This episode of the Digital Desperados podcast is brought to you by SaferNet VPN, found online at safernet.com. My Windows computer updates security every few days. Is it enough? Stay ahead of cyber threats with SaferNet VPN. For businesses seeking top-notch security without complexity, we've got you covered. Plus, protect your family with powerful internet filters. Experience the ease of cybersecurity with SaferNet VPN. Join us in creating a safer online environment by getting secured now. Sign up at safernet.com. That's safernet.com.